Hey everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to talk about something we use constantly, every single day, and usually without even thinking about it: language. But what if I told you it's way more than just saying stuff? It's literally about building worlds, figuring out who we are, and even, wielding power. So, yeah, let's peel back some of those layers and find out what's really happening when we speak.
Okay, so let's just start with the biggest question of all, right? What is language for? I mean, really, what's its whole point, beyond just, making noise with our mouths? What is its fundamental purpose?
And I bet the first thing that just popped into your head is to communicate, yeah? To get an idea from my brain into your brain. It's the obvious answer, the one we all learn in school. And it's not wrong.
But it's also about something a little warmer, right? It's about connecting with people. Building those bridges, sharing things we've been through, making friends, creating families, all of that stuff. That feels super important too.
Okay, but what about this one? To control. Oof. That feels a little different, doesn't it? It's a bit uncomfortable. It kind of hints that there's this hidden power in the words we use, a power we don't really like to talk about. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today.
So, where are we getting these ideas from? Well, our guide for this whole exploration comes from a pretty cool source, actually. It's based on the inquiry questions from the IB's career-related program. And don't worry, these aren't just, dusty old academic questions. They're actually really powerful prompts that are designed to make us think super deeply about how language and culture literally shape our entire lives.
And to help us do that, we're going to break it down into what we're calling the 4 dimensions of language. Think of it like a roadmap for our conversation today. We'll start with the one we all know: communication. Then, we'll go a layer deeper into identity. After that, perspective. And finally, we're going to tackle that really tricky one: power.
Okay, let's dive right in. First dimension, the codes we speak. I want you to think of yourself as kind of like a linguistic chameleon. This is all about how we automatically, and a lot of the time we don't even realize we're doing it, change our language to fit whatever situation we're in.
And here's a question just for you, something to think about for a second. How does your communication change? I mean, really think about it. The way you talk to your boss, is it the same way you talk to your best friend? Or your parents? Or, even your dog? Probably not. And you can see that exact split right here. Over on one side, you've got your professional language. It's more formal, right? It's got specific rules, maybe a bunch of jargon that only your coworkers would get. But then, on the other side, you've got your personal language. It's super informal, full of inside jokes, and based on all the history you share with someone. That constant jumping back and forth, there's a name for it. It's called code switching. And we all do it, all day, every day, without even noticing.
Okay, so we've talked about how we use language as a tool. But now, let's go deeper. Let's talk about what language is to us personally. This brings us to our second dimension, the language of you. This is where we get into how words are basically woven into the very fabric of who we are.
I want you to just take a second and really let this question sink in. To what extent do the languages I speak and my life experiences make me unique? Because we're not just talking about knowing a bunch of words here. We're talking about all the memories, all the feelings, all the life that's tangled up in those words.
Your language is kind of like a linguistic fingerprint. It's totally unique to you. It tells a story about the groups you're a part of, your family, your friendships, your culture, your country. It can make you feel right at the heart of things, or it can make you feel like you're stuck on the outside. And that's the key thing to get here. Language is one of the most powerful ways we create that feeling of us, that sense of belonging.
All right, get ready for Dimension 3, because this one is a little bit of a mind bender. We're going to move past the idea that language just reflects reality, like a mirror. Instead, we're going to explore a much wilder idea. What if language is the lens that actually shapes how we see the world to begin with?
Now, for anyone out there who speaks more than one language, this next question is definitely for you. Do you ever feel like you're a slightly different person depending on which language you're speaking? Maybe some feelings are just easier to talk about in one language than another. If you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common experience.
And this pushes that idea even further. Think about a word like home. Is the knowledge of what home means in English exactly the same as hogar in Spanish or maison in French? Or does the entire cultural history baked into that one word actually change what home is? This suggests that language isn't just a sticky note we put on things that already exist. It might be the actual tool we use to carve out our concepts from the world around us.
Which brings us perfectly to our fourth and final dimension, and it's a big one, the power of language. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of how language works out in the real world, how it's used to sort people, to create hierarchies, and to decide who gets power and who doesn't.
Because, let's be real, the hard truth is that not all languages, or even all dialects, are treated the same. Society puts a value on them, a status. So you've got your high-status languages, the ones used in business, in government, in universities. Then you have what gets labeled as low status, maybe a regional dialect or an accent that gets unfairly judged. It's a real thing.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This stuff has huge, real-world consequences for people. It really makes you stop and ask the question, how is language being used, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not, as a key to either open doors for people or to slam them shut?
Because this is where that power gets really concrete. Language can act as a gatekeeper. Being fluent in that so-called high-status language can literally be the difference in getting access to good schools, decent healthcare, or a better job. And that creates these massive power imbalances in our society, all built on something as simple as the way we talk.
So there you have it. We've walked through all 4 dimensions: communication, identity, perspective, and power. And really the whole point of this is to hopefully get you to start noticing these invisible forces at work in your own life and every single conversation you have from now on. So, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Language is not just a tool we pick up and use like a hammer. It's way more than that. It's a living, breathing force that is constantly, actively building who we are, framing how we see everything, and shaping the world we all share. And so, I'll leave you with one last big question to chew on. After everything we've talked about, how language builds entire worlds inside our heads, what kind of knowledge, what unique ways of seeing things would be lost forever if one day the entire world woke up and spoke the exact same language? It's something to think about. Thanks for hanging out with me today.